Welcome back to the Huntech Pro Podcast with me, Johan Smit, as your host. We want to give a huge shout out to our presenting sponsor today, My Trophy Room. Preserve your proudest moments with the app's seamless photo features, designed to display your hunting trophies like never before. Download My Trophy Room from Google Play or Apple App Store. Subscribe on YouTube and follow us on our social media platforms under Huntech Pro. Whether you're a seasoned hunter, an inspiring outdoor enthusiast, or someone who simply loves the thrill of adventure, you're in the right place. Join us as we bring you exciting stories from the wild, expert insights into hunting and shooting gear, and a front row seat to some of the most exhilarating hunts around the globe. So grab your favorite drink, settle in, and get ready to immerse yourself into the world of Huntech Pro, where every hunt has a story, and every story is worth sharing. Let's get started. Guys, thank you for joining us on today's podcast. Since I've started with Huntech Pro, it was in 2020. We were chatting a bit with one of our other friends, and he said he was getting his show on a platform called Carbon TV. And I reached out back then to Carbon TV, and since then we've been on their platform. And for Huntech Pro, it's been doing so well. We've grown so big, and when I started with a podcast, I think it would be great story to get the CEO herself on the podcast. So Julie, thanks for joining me on today's podcast.
Of course, yeah, I'm excited to be here.
So Julie, give me a little bit background. Carbon TV, where did it start?
Carbon TV, yeah, so we've been around for over 10 years now, which is pretty old in the digital space in the hunting world. So we were the very first one. I would like to say that I created the company, but I did not. I have a business partner, David, who this was his dream years ago, over a decade ago. So he started the company. I took over the business late 2017, early 2018, became the president and then the CEO at that point. So we've been here for quite a while, and it's grown and kind of evolved into something very different over the years.
Yeah, but it's so awesome, because if people go on to Carbon TV, they can check there's all kind of outdoor shows on there. There's hunting, there's fishing, there's people cooking, there's something for everybody on there. So you guys had a really great idea to start out this platform.
Yeah, and actually when I took it over, it was mostly hunting and fishing. So, which is what I love. That's the business I've been in for a long time now. So I was okay with that. And it's great, to still have so many hunting and fishing shows. But about 3 or 4 years ago, we were in a content acquisition meeting, just talking about the shows that are coming on. And, we really started recognizing that there's so many other things that happen outside. Anything that happens outdoors is interesting to people who love hunting and fishing. So we started looking more into acquiring content that is in agriculture and aviation, survival content, cooking shows. Homesteading is a big one. So yeah, it's been really cool over the years to see that grow in some new directions. But hunting is still, it's my favorite, as far as all of the outdoor activities, but it is kind of nice to have more of a mix of different types of content.
Yeah, no, definitely. And what is, like you said, you guys didn't focus on one thing. You focused on a whole big spectrum, and that creates a whole bigger platform for you guys to reach out there. But Julie, where did your hunting journey start?
About 20 something years ago. I wasn't from a family that hunted when I was a kid. So I got started in that a little bit later, more of as an adult, and just kind of grew into a major passion of mine. I wanted to find some way to do it, for a living. So I wanted to find some path into the outdoor community that I could, actually have a career in it. So I've been doing this about 20 years now.
And I know you've been a host on programs as well. Tell me, was it difficult for you to get into TV back then? Because like now you've got Carbon TV. It's more like it's view on demand and stuff like that. But to get on TV, I think it must have been a big challenge for you back then.
It kind of was in some ways, but back then it was very different. So there weren't as many options. I did have a number of different TV shows on the networks over the years, but I really got my start behind the camera more than anything. So working as a producer, filming, for people, producing in the field. So my background kind of, instead of just jumping right onto camera, was more in field production. So lining things up, also line production, so backing into budgets for TV shows. And then I kind of worked my way in front of the camera. And I still do a little bit of that. I still do a little bit of the production stuff. But it was kind of an evolution, step by step working in. And then, I just was really lucky, in some ways. I got into the industry at a time when there weren't as many women doing this. So I think more doors opened because of that. They were trying to get more female viewership. And the best way to do that is to have females on camera.
Yeah. No, it's I think it also had a lot of challenges for you back then. So take me out. Can you remember maybe your first hunt you went on?
The first hunt, was a whitetail hunt in Missouri. And, I was young, I had just gone through my hunter safety course, and I was by myself when I shot the deer and didn't know much about it. But, and I think, anyone can kind of relate to there being a mixture of emotions on your first animal. It's kind of this mixture of remorse and sadness, but also excitement, and it's thrilling. So, I can kind of remember how scary that was at the time, but I knew that it was something I wanted to continue doing and learning more about. So yeah, my first hunt was a beautiful whitetail buck. And, I think to this day, he's probably the oldest deer I've ever shot. I just got really lucky. I didn't know anything about wind direction. I didn't know anything about anything. So, luck of the draw on the first one for me.
Oh, that's really awesome. I think it's that's why I ask people always, can they remember their first hunt? Because it's like I think it's a memory that's burned into your brain that you can't forget. I mean, I also didn't come out of a hunter's house. I shot my first animal when I was 18 years old. But I mean, the first time I shot my animal, that I knew I was hooked for life. And because I did it with a bow, that's why I've got bow hunting such a big passion for me back here as well. And we also didn't have a lot of TV shows or stuff like that. We normally had some hunting shows to watch on ESPN and stuff like that. And then on YouTube, some shows started popping up. And I mean, like, I remember my first attempt at an episode also, it was, I wanted to show hunting raw as it happens. And it wasn't TV friendly apparently for the people. Yeah. So we had to form our whole episode around to be TV friendly and stuff like that. It's but it's stuff like, okay, I shot for that episode, I shot Impala, and I approached him when he was still busy kicking and stuff like that, and blood lying everywhere. And okay, I don't know, for TV that doesn't work good. So
yeah, those rules have definitely changed over the years. For a while it was kind of a free for all. You could get away with a lot. But I remember back in the day when the networks put a rule in place where we couldn't show a kill shot more than 3 times, and you can't show it in slow motion, because that was the thing that people were doing. And it's cool to tell the story as long as it's, ethical, and you're not showing an animal, that's suffering, but yeah, rules have been put in place definitely to make sure that that the content, isn't offensive, because we're definitely not trying to dissuade people from coming into the industry or to appreciate what we do as hunters. So I think telling the stories in the right way, where it shows respect to the animals, beautiful storytelling. I think that there's definitely rules in place, but for good reason most of the time.
Yeah, no, like you said, it's a certain stuff that we just have to, the rules are there to protect our industry and all that kind of stuff, totally. And to give less sticks for the anti-hunters to eat us. And yeah, that is why we do what we do, because we do it for the passion, and we need to show the people out there who aren't hunters why we do it. And in this way, with those rules in place, I think it colors in the picture better and they can understand it more.
Yeah, it's true. And now we have social media in the mix. So, a lot of our networks are protected for brand safety, so we have content, like quality control, making sure that, people aren't uploading videos that would be, offensive. But with social media, I see some people uploading video content that probably shouldn't be uploaded. And there are rules in place and they get censored some, but the video is there now. And so, I think it's sometimes it's unfortunate that we do have that freedom because some of those videos I don't think are doing us any favors in the industry. I think that people should maybe think twice before they, show some of what they're showing. But to me anyways, that's the difference in the networks and social media. You can be famous on both, but one has a little bit more control of, the messaging that's being put out to the audience.
So Julie, tell me, can you remember your first African hunt? Because I know you've been over a few times this side.
Yeah. My first time in South Africa was, my gosh, probably almost 20 years ago. I had only been hunting for a few years and I went over, and it was just beautiful. I was around the Kimberley area and, it was amazing. When you've only hunted in the United States and only hunted a few times, something like that is really extraordinary. It was a rifle hunt, so, it was still challenging, but, I definitely took quite a few animals as happens in South Africa. Once you get there and you start seeing the animals in person and then it's like, oh, okay, I only picked 6 before I came here, but now I want 20. So it happens. But it was beautiful. And I remember, the sunsets were some of the coolest things I've ever seen to this day. I think the landscape there and the hospitality was incredible. And I think that's the reason why it's such a coveted place to go to visit. I think that's why a lot of people continue going back so many times over and over, is it's not just the hunting. There's so much culture and, it's just a beautiful part of the world. And, Americans seem to continue booking more and more trips over there. And you totally understand why once you've done it.
Yeah, no, I always tell the people when they come hunt with us over this side, I know you've got a list, but if it's your first trip, no, it's going to change because
it's going to change.
we can, let's say you want to go after impala on your first hunt. We can walk 20 or 30 meters in the bush, if you're hunting in the Limpopo bushveld, and all of a sudden a nice blue wildebeest or a nice kudu or a nice eland will present itself, so then you must be prepared to quickly change your mind.
Yeah, and you will. That's almost a guarantee. I don't know very many people who stick to their list when they go over there. As soon as you see some of those gorgeous animals, it's like, okay, yes, I definitely want that one also.
Yeah, no, it's we're very fortunate to be able to have this amount of wild in our country. I wish more of the political stuff was way better in our country, but for the hunting side, I think we live in one of the most beautiful places in the world. But other than that, now, Julie, take me through a year. I know you guys start early January with the shows and stuff. So how does a year in your yearbook normally look?
A year for us is, obviously the beginning of the year is always very busy. We come out of the holidays, the end of the year, moving into the next. Part of what we do is maintain relationships with all of our producers. Right now, I think we have over 300 TV shows on the network. And that doesn't include podcasts, documentaries, short films, all of the other types of content that we offer. So a big part for me is getting on phone calls with all the producers, checking in with them. I still like to do that personally. I do have a lot of teams in place that could do it, but for me, it's that personal touch. It's how is your season? Is there anything we can be doing better and support? What can my teams do to help you in the coming year? Who are you working with? So all of those, all of those questions that are really important for me to know, so that the overall vision of the company is going the right way. So usually trade show season happens at the beginning of the year, and in between all the trade shows, I'm on phone calls with every single producer, touching base with them, checking in, and then also maintaining relationships with all of our clients and advertisers, and just a lot of conversations at the beginning side of the year. And then we move into Q2, which, we've got turkey season and everyone's getting excited for the spring and, fishing season and the summer. So just kind of making sure that we have things in place at Carbon for support of all of that. So if people have special stuff coming up, we want to be a part of it. And then moving into Q3, we're thinking about big game season. So, we've got all the draws going on. We've got, elk and deer season opening up, making sure that we're just keeping people interested in coming back and watching more content on those things. Typically, we see that people are watching content that correlates with what time of year it is. So we have people watching all of that and making sure that we're advertising for the right things. And then, of course, at the end of the year, we're moving back into holidays and more hunting. And all throughout the year, we're doing content acquisition. So we're bringing more shows on. We're maintaining all of those relationships, building the company in all the ways. So pretty much every year, all year is absolute chaos, but I love it.
No, but that's that special touch that you give, Julie, and that's what I appreciate, having Huntech on your platform. It's you guys set up a call with me, you talk personally with me, and you ask me what is my expectations and where you guys can help. And for us as producers, that means the world, especially for me to sit here in South Africa and to know that you're president of the company and you want to work with closely like that with me. That means a lot. So, kudos to you, because that means a lot in my books.
I appreciate that. And I think the reason why I have stayed so close to it, even though my role as the CEO, I have a lot of stuff going on, but I come from the producer side. I was a producer. Actually, I had a show that aired on Carbon TV before I worked here. So, I totally understand it. I know that you need support. And if we're not providing that, you'll go somewhere else, and we don't want that. So for me, it's an act of love, and respect for the producers, where I totally understand where they're coming from. But if I don't hear their feedback directly, nothing will really get done. So one of the great things about Carbon is we're not one of those companies where it takes 6 months to get something done. If I hear feedback from someone, it's done right now. And my teams are really fast at getting things accomplished. So we can make changes and pivot really quickly. So that makes it way more fun to work at the company,
Yeah, I must say, I was super impressed when I asked you guys if we can get the podcast on Carbon. I asked you on Thursday, I think. Yeah, it was Tuesday. Now it was already, my portal was open up on Carbon TV. So you guys are super quick getting on stuff like that.
Yeah, totally. And I have to say, Autumn is amazing. Anyone who works with us has definitely interacted with Autumn before. She's my right hand. She's my vice president, and she runs all the operations. Everybody needs an Autumn in their life. She's fantastic. And then she has all of our teams that work with her, so social media, marketing, creative teams, and they are brilliant, just wonderful people.
Now we're talking about women in the industry. Can you give me any advice for a young listener, maybe for a young lady who wants to get involved into the hunting industry? Where would she need to start, and what advice can you give her?
Yeah. So, the great thing is, over the past 20 years, we're seeing more and more women who legitimately want to be in this community and in this industry. And it's much easier now than it used to be. Thank goodness. And for any young ladies out there, I always recommend you join some groups. If it's on Facebook, meet some people on Instagram, find people who you respect to follow. Don't just follow them because it's a flash in the pan and something weird to look at. Find the ones that are kind of something you would want to emulate. Join the groups that are doing good things. There's so many great women's camps for beginners. Even if it's like a 1 day or a 5 day actual learning course to learn the skill sets and learn what you need to know. If it's a girl who wants to get in on the production side, there's really great film courses. So Tom Petrie has a film school that we're actually working with him. A lot of the guys who film, their own shows, they go there to brush up on their skills. Join classes like that, invest into yourself a little bit. I think there's kind of a misconception that if you get on Instagram and pose with some things, that now you're in the industry. And sure, maybe for a minute, maybe people will be like, oh, cool, she's a hunter. But I kind of hope that it goes deeper than that for most of them, that there's really a love and respect for wildlife and wild places. volunteering, getting involved with conservation organizations, really putting boots on the ground and understanding what we need to do to build a better community. I think that there's a ton of opportunity for women specifically in this industry. Not only opportunity, there's a lot of support. There's a lot of us out there who work hard to make sure those up and coming young ladies or women have a place in the business. So, reach out to people on social media. I answer all the DMs from the girls who are looking for work, looking for connections, looking like, who do I talk to? Where do I go if I want to be involved?
No, thank you for that advice. I'm sure a lot of listeners can take something out of that. But Julie, tell me, if people don't know about or where to get Carbon TV, where can they access you guys? Let's say, I know you guys are available on TVs. Is that on Roku TVs? And where else can people get access to Carbon TV?
Yeah, so Carbon TV is everywhere. And the first thing I want to say is, and this is, something we need to celebrate more than what we do, it's free. So we don't charge people to watch Carbon TV ever. There's never a time where we say you have to give us your information or you have to pay us something. It's not going to happen. So anyone who has any device can watch it for free. If you have a phone or a tablet, there's an app. So iOS and Android apps. Really easy. You just download it and start watching. So it doesn't require anything from you. If you use Roku or Apple TV or Amazon Fire, any of those ways that you're streaming through your television, we're available there, free download of the app. Roku seems to be a very popular one. I think a lot of people use Roku. It's a very user-friendly app. So download the app there. Also, if you have a smart TV, so LG, Samsung, and Vizio were built into those televisions. So like if you just run to Walmart, buy a new Vizio TV, we're right there in the software. So you don't even have to download it. We've worked really hard to make it as easy as possible to find. We never want someone to not be watching because they can't find us. So over the years, we have, very strategically placed it in every place possible.
No, that's awesome. And especially with the mindset you guys have that it's for free for people to view. I mean, I must tell you, Julie, since I've got Huntech on Carbon TV, our popularity has grown a lot, and that helps a lot for us, and that means the world for us to know that if we put our episode on Carbon TV, I know I'm reaching a lot of people out there, but I know why, and that's because you guys made the app this easy for people to use and you gave it free for them.
Yeah, absolutely. I know there's some other services out there that charge people a fee or, you have to sign in, and our goal has been just make it easy for people to watch and easy to find. And that always goes back to the producers. You guys, you're working hard and investing into creating that content. So it's our job to make sure people can find it and watch it. And there's also a whole other separate side of the business called fast channel distribution. It's global. So it's free ad supported television. We're on a number of partner networks on that. So people are finding it that way as well. We've seen a huge uptick in viewership since we started working those partnerships also. And
like I said, just thank you again for, getting us involved with that, because it helped us grow tremendously. And we look forward to a bright future with you guys. But Julie, tell me about this year. Do you have any hunting trips you are looking forward to?
Yeah, so we're actually still, so I'm in Arizona, and we're still in the middle of hunting season here. My fiance is a houndsman. So we run dogs. He runs dogs. So he has a really great outfit. So we're still doing lion season here. And, that's always very exciting. So as we move out of lion season in the next probably 2 or 3 months, we'll have a little bit of time off. And then the summer, I have a few hunts planned. I've got an elk hunt planned with Jana in Utah. Anyone who knows Jana Waller, she's a ton of fun to hunt with. She has a show, Skullbound, on Carbon. And we're doing that hunt with Folds of Honor, which is just a really meaningful hunt to help, raise funds for military Gold Star families. And then I actually have my guide license in Arizona. So I'll be helping guide people in Arizona with my fiance in the fall.
Yeah, no, it's really great to hear that you guys are giving back to the veterans as well. And I mean, every time when I hunt in the States, I see how much you guys have respect for the guys who did duty for your country. So it's always great to hear the stories and how you guys invest back into them as well.
It's really incredible. There's a lot of great organizations that are doing really good things for our servicemen and women and first responders. And, anyone who even wants to get slightly involved, it's not hard to find one that, that meets that criteria. And Folds is always, a favorite of ours. We work really closely with them, and it just means a lot, to know what they're doing for families.
Yeah, no, definitely. And like I said, every little town that I've traveled through, I can see how the guys honor the guys who served. So it's really awesome to know that you guys are so proud of your nation and people who served in your country. Let's talk about social media. You've been in the industry for, you said, 20 plus years. Is it how do you deal with people that are against hunting or people who are bad mouthing you? Is there a certain way you treat it? You just ignore it, or how do you treat it?
So in my opinion, things have gotten easier. I remember a time, probably 10 or so years ago when we were violently under attack on social media. Back then I was posting more because it was required. So I had sponsors, I had TV shows. So I had to be posting certain things. And, I was just constantly attacked for it. And I hated that because it's not in my nature to deal well with being attacked. And I'm an introvert by nature. So I found it to be very difficult to go through that, blocking people, deleting comments, the things that you kind of have to do. And then I slowly kind of progressed into not posting very much at all. I don't put a lot of my personal life on social media because I just don't think it's really anyone's business anymore. But I know that a lot of people in the industry who are posting very meaningfully, right? They're putting things out there that about, their accomplishments or things that they're proud of, and they're still being attacked for that. I don't think it's ever really going to stop because there's always going to be a crowd of people looking to attack people who think differently than them. I know that some people like to have those conversations and like to respond to the comments and get really mean and try to get their point across. But in my opinion, it doesn't always make a very big difference. You can have the arguments, you can try to prove your point, but those people kind of have their mindset and they're out there for a reason, looking for trouble. I think blocking people and deleting it is kind of the best policy. The other thing is, maybe don't put stuff out there that's going to cause controversy, just to get likes and attention. We see a lot of that, unfortunately, where people get what they think is a really interesting video on their cell phone of something traumatic happening. Unfortunately, a lot of times it's an animal involved and they think it's going to be, it's going to go viral and they're going to get all this attention for it, but it's not doing us any favors in the industry. We're trying to, kind of make sure that people know that most of us, the majority of people in this business, in this industry who hunt, are ethical and we love the animals and we care about them and we are invested into making sure their populations are growing every year in the right ways and maintained and sustainable. So the people who are out there on social media just kind of trying to get attention, it's kind of hurtful to the rest of the community. So I've seen both sides. I've been on the side of being attacked constantly and getting shut down multiple times. And now I'm kind of over on the other side, just hoping that other people stop causing drama.
It's crazy, especially with all the hunts that we post. Certain animals just draw way more attention than other animals. And we always try to, present the animal as clean as possible. There's no blood. We try to do it in an honor and respectable way because we use it obviously to get more hunters to hunt with us because we've got an outfit part of the company as well. But I mean, if I post a picture of a giraffe, you must see the hate comments I get. I think I've blocked over 3,000 people on our page. It's crazy.
I bet. Yeah.
But if I look at other posts on social media, some of the guys, they don't get any of that, and I don't get it, But yeah, I must say it's a struggle for us this side with all of that.
It is interesting. Some animals draw way more attention than others, in a positive or negative way. Predator hunting here in America is kind of, that's kind of a hotspot for the antis. I think mainly because they think we don't eat them. That's probably a big part of it, or they think that they can manage and maintain their own populations without human intervention. So there's a lot of misinformation out there floating around, which is why they get so fired up when they see a picture of some guy holding a mountain lion. And if you're uneducated, it's understandable to be upset about something. But, if you're, doing your research and educating yourself, you would realize that there's really no reason to be that upset about things.
So you talked a little bit about conservation. I listened to a video the other day. Somebody uploaded about whitetail the numbers were very, very, very low many years ago. So did the conservation efforts in certain states work better than in other states, or what is your experience out of that?
Yeah, so for whitetail specifically, I believe that the North American model of conservation should be the standard. I think that pretty much every state has done an excellent job of managing sustainable populations. Different states have had different issues too. We have diseases come through that wipe out entire herd populations. And that is why we have management in place where, they restrict the number of deer that can be taken for the next number of years. I think some states, they have figured out the proper way to set their seasons up. So, archery, muzzleloader, and rifle seasons, shorter seasons for more success rates, depending on the populations. I also think a big part of it when you're talking about whitetail hunting specifically is predator management. So, a lot of those fawns are killed every year by, coyotes or bears or whatever else is in the area. So making sure that, regulations are in place for proper predator management is crucial. Every state is very different. I live in the West, so we're looking at more mule deer. We do have coos deer, which is a form of whitetail, just a little bit smaller. But we also have very, good management on predators here. When we have a drought year, we're in a drought year this year. So we are watching those populations, making sure that, as we move into the fall season, we're seeing the right numbers on the deer herd populations. So, but yeah, overall, if you look at, our country from one end to the other, I think that just from working with a lot of those conservation organizations and knowing the amount of work that goes into it, the data collection, managing it properly, investing back into those herds, putting up, even as simple as putting up fencing that the deer aren't going to get caught in. So wildlife friendly fencing, which there are projects in place where volunteers are out there putting those fences up. So there's a lot of stuff that goes into making sure that as hunters, we are the ones managing and maintaining a sustainable deer population. And I believe that goes for every animal that we offer here in the U.S.
For me, it was very strange to see whitetail running all around, and I try to plan my trips around when in the rut. So when we're driving on the freeways, I see dead deer next to the road, or I see them standing just like right next to the road. But in South Africa, you won't see that. Maybe baboons or stuff like that. We've got all our animals fenced in,
Yeah, no, it's incredible. And anyone who has experienced the rut over here, no matter what state you're in, it's wild. More car accidents, definitely more car accidents because those deer they're not thinking of anything else. But it is, it's really cool to see the whitetail populations in the United States, and how sustainable they are for the most part. Diseases aside, like that's, something that's really difficult to control when it happens. But I think they've done a great job. Yeah, no,
I'm glad to hear that, and that the numbers picked up like that. It's especially with lions in South Africa. In the early 1900s, they were on the verge of extinction. And then the farmers started to put them in fenced areas and to breed with them. Now we can offer trophy lion hunting, but if it wasn't for the conservation that the guys did put into place for that, we wouldn't have any of those animals left,
Right.
Got a few questions. Are you ready for them?
I'm ready. Yeah.
Favorite hunt or outdoor adventure?
A favorite hunt or outdoor overall?
Yeah.
Total. Lion hunting with Brandon.
Is it interesting?
And when I say lion, I don't mean like your lions. We have mountain lions, so, and we use dogs.
Yeah, I get it. I had to think about it now because obviously in
Yeah,
my mind we've got other lions here.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, the most challenging hunt you've ever been on?
Oh, the most challenging hunt. So there's a over-the-counter mule deer hunt here in Arizona. I've been doing it for, I don't know, 12, 15 years and have never tagged out. Doesn't mean I haven't come close, but it was definitely my fault. I missed a couple deer. Archery hunting in this terrain is super fun, also very challenging. I still say it's my favorite hunt, and that was so many years ago. The most challenging and heartbreaking when you shoot over a deer's back, you know.
Your dream hunting destination?
Probably Spain. I'd like to get an ibex in Spain.
One piece of advice for its aspiring outdoor content creators?
Credibility leads to longevity. So if you want to be here for a long time, do things that are credible. Think through your actions and decisions. Surround yourself with really good people.
What's the most disgusting thing you ever eaten?
I mean, probably a bunch of ants. I don't know. I don't eat very many gross things, but I definitely accidentally ate a handful of ants a few years ago. And now I can't eat those rice cracker things because I just crammed them and a whole handful went down.
I think I've eaten ants before. I think they've got like a very sour taste, if I can remember correctly.
Yeah, it took me a minute I was snacking in the dark and I didn't realize. And then before I knew it, I just downed a bunch of them.
Okay, and your most valuable hunting equipment?
My most what? Valuable?
Valuable.
Oh, valuable hunting equipment. Probably my glass. I use Swarovski glass, and it's amazing. When you live somewhere where you need good glass, you definitely appreciate having it. So I use all the Swaro spotters and binoculars.
Oh no, awesome.
Well, can I take that back? I have one more. I had a custom rifle built a few years ago, and that's probably to me that's probably my favorite. It's a gorgeous custom 28 Nosler that looks like a piece of art. So that's probably it's both of those.
I've got a lot of sentimental value of a few of my rifles. So it's like I've got one of our sponsors back about a week ago. That's the import of Beretta and Sarco. So they want to give me one of their new Sarcos now in 375, and then also the Beretta BRX. But now my wife is like, okay, now your sweet 9 iron, it's my it's almost like a 375, a 9.3 by 662. It's not going to be my favorite rifle anymore. So
yeah, I always think, if anything were to happen, I would grab that rifle as I'm exiting the house, like that. I am so proud of it. It's just beautiful. So yeah, it's funny how we get attached to a few of them.
So Julie, tell me, is there any exciting stuff that you guys are planning for Carbon TV this year?
Oh, there's always exciting stuff. Yeah. It's going to be a really good year for us. So a lot of new features. And that's exciting for people who are watching it. So on the viewership side, there's a lot of new features. So a lot of updates. So anyone who has watched anything on Carbon previously, and now you go back, you'll see it looks a little different in a good way. So easier to find things, more searchability. They actually resized some of the thumbnail images to kind of give it a new look. So we've got a lot of that stuff going on. Probably doesn't sound too thrilling for some people, but man, it's exciting for us to always have good updates. Just, a lot of the same. We're adding new shows. So we're probably going to add another 40 shows or so this year. So new content coming out. A lot of the shows we're already working with are coming out with new seasons. So we'll get very excited about that on the marketing side. Should be a really good year.
No, it sounds very excited for my part because since 2020 I've been with you guys, so it's exciting to see how you guys have grown as well, and also the amount of shows that's on there is incredible. So whatever you guys are doing, keep doing it, Julie, because you guys are going for gold now with it.
Well, I appreciate that, and we really love working with you. I know you bring something different to the table. You have a very interesting business, where you're actually booking hunts and getting people over there to experience it for themselves. And then, kind of using your video content to help share that with the world. So we love working with you. You guys are a lot of fun. And now that you have the podcast going, that's super exciting. We'll be behind that also.
Thank you so much, Julie. It's with Huntech Pro, when we started out, we always tried to share a story. So it's always about the journey, not the outcome. So, people will get bummed out because they didn't get the kudu they were after, or the blue wildebeest, or the eland they were after. But what do you take back home? It's the journey you had, the memories you shared, and we always try to capture that around the episode. And now with the outfitter part of the company, we want the clients to tell their part, to share their experience, and I think it's been working very good for us. But to partner up with you guys has worked so great for us, and we are super proud to say that we work with Carbon TV as well. And especially now that I got to interview you as well with a podcast, I know it's going to do really well.
Good. I'm very excited about it. Yeah, I'm honored to be on here talking with you.
Now, Julie, just thank you again for making the time today to chat with us. I really had a great time chatting with you.
Same here. Yeah, thank you. We'll have to do it again sometime.
And guys, thank you for listening to this podcast episode. If you want to find out what our next podcast episode is all about, make sure you subscribe on the channel you are listening from, and make sure not to miss out on the other episodes that we've got coming out soon.